Hi everyone, my name is Karen Chumasara from BSE 1G, one of the reporter of Chapter 3, which is the topic of intellectual revolution that defines society. The learning outcomes of this lesson: number 1, define the scientific revolution. Number 2, discuss how the ideas postulated by Copernicus, Darwin, and Freud contributed to the spark of scientific revolution. And number 3, analyze how scientific revolution is done with the various parts of the world in Mesoamerica, Asia, and Africa. Today, we're going to explore the reason why people engage in scientific activities. One of the primary reasons people do scientific activities is to understand the world around us. Science helps us to answer questions about natural phenomena, from why the sky is so blue to how plants grow. Example: for instance, scientists study weather patterns to understand and predict climate change. This knowledge helps us to prepare for natural disasters and protect our environment. Number 2, to find meanings and seek answers to many questions. Science is driven by curiosity. People engage in scientific activities to find meanings and seek answers to many questions. These quests for knowledge lead us to discoveries that can change our life. Example: consider the discovery of antibiotics. Science were curious about how to fight bacterial infection, and their research led to the development of life-saving medicines. And last is to provide alternative explanation to certain phenomena. Science also provides alternative explanation to phenomena that might seem mysterious or unexplainable. By using the scientific method, we can test hypotheses and find evidence-based answers. Example: ancient civilization had various myths to explain solar eclipse. Today, we understand that eclipse occurred through the alignment of the Earth, Moon, and the Sun. Now, let's proceed to what is scientific revolution. Scientific revolution was a period of enlightenment when the developments in the fields of mathematics, physics, astronomy, biology, and chemistry transformed by the views of society about nature. This period occurred from 16th to 18th century. During this time, many new ideas and theories emerged that changed our understanding of the world. For example, Copernicus proposed that the sun, not the earth, is the center of the solar system. In the field of mathematics, new theories and methods such as calculus developed by Isaac Newton. In physics, also Isaac Newton discovered the law of motion and universal gravitation, explaining the movement of objects both in earth and the heavens. In astronomy, Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, and Johannes Kepler proved that the sun is the center of the solar system. In biology, detailed studies of organisms and their processes began, and William Harvey's discovery of blood circulation. In chemistry, elements and their reaction were discovered, led by scientists like Antoine Lavoisier. The impact of scientific revolution on society: it replaced the medieval view of nature with a new perspective because of science evidence and science method. It promotes scientific research and collaboration, and also it influenced Enlightenment thinkers who applied reason of scientific principle to human society and governance. Now, we're going to explore the concept of scientific revolution. This topic is divided into 4 categories. Number 1, science as an idea. It includes ideas, theories, and all available systematic explanation and observation about the natural and physical world. Means, think of science as a collection of ideas that help us understand how the world works. For example, the theory of gravity explains why the objects fall into the ground. These ideas are based on careful observation and experiments. Number 2, science as an intellectual activity. It encompasses a systematic and practical study of the natural and physical world. Means science is not just about ideas, it's also about the process of discovering those ideas. This involves conducting experiments, making observation, and analyzing data. For instance, Galileo used telescopes to observe the stars and planets, which helped him develop new ideas about the universe. And number 3, science as a body set of knowledgeable. It is a subject or a discipline, a field of study, or a body of knowledge that deals with the process of learning about the natural and physical world. Means, over time, science have gathered a vast amount of knowledge about the world. This includes everything from the structure of atoms to the law of motions. This body of knowledge helps us to develop new technologies and solve problems. And last, number 4, science as a personal and social activity. This explains that science is both knowledge and activities done by human beings to develop better understanding of the world around them. Means, science is also a social activity. Scientists work together, share their findings, and build on each other's work. This collaboration is essential for scientific progress. For example, the development of vaccine involves scientists from all over the world working together.
Good day, I am Nicole Tolosa Azul, BSE 1G, one of the reporters of intellectual revolution that defined society, and I will be presenting to you some intellectuals and their revolutionary ideas. So first, we have the Copernican Revolution by Mr. Nicolaus Copernicus. So Nicolaus Copernicus was an astronomer and also a mathematician. His ideas were an example of what is presently called as thought experiment. Copernicus' idea and model of the universe was essentially complete in 1510. So he adopted the heliocentric model. So heliocentric means that the sun is at the center and each planet revolves around the sun. So he also published an essay titled On the Revolution of the Heavenly Spheres on 1543. Nicolaus Copernicus also shifted in the field of astronomy from a geocentric understanding of the universe centered around the Earth. We have the Darwinian Revolution by Charles Darwin. So Charles Darwin was an English naturalist, geologist, and biologist. He is also widely known as the father of the evolution because of his famous theory, the theory of evolution. He published his book, The Origin of Species, in 1589. His book presented evidence on how species evolved over time and presented traits and adaptation that differentiate species. He suggested that all organisms are related and have descended from a common ancestor. Explains that complex creatures evolved naturally from simplistic ancestor over time. So what he meant by common ancestor? So common ancestor is when two beings or things are same or related. So the example of this is he defined the birds and bananas, fishes and flowers are all related. So next, the last revolution, the Freudian Revolution by Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud, he is famous in the field of psychology. He is also known as father of psychoanalysis. He made a significant contribution in the scientific world through the development of psychoanalysis. He believed that when people explain their behavior, they rarely give a true account of their motivation, not because they are deliberately lying, but because they are more adept of self-deception. So he introduced the idea that unconscious forces drives human behavior. So there is 3 types of self-deception: the ID, superego, and the ego. And let's define them one by one. So first, we have the word ID. So ID is made up of unconscious psychic energy that works to satisfy basic needs, urges, and desire. So when we say ID, it is when we demonstrate our basic needs or wants and how those needs are met. So ID is also known as a source of our body needs. Second, we have the superego. It's composed of people's internalized ideas acquired from parents and society, works to suppress the urges of the ID and tries to make the ego behave normally rather than realistically. So superego is when you suppress your most primal urges. The last one is the ego. Mediates the demands of the ID, the superego and the reality. Works to satisfy the ID's desire in a manner that is realistically and socially appropriate. So ego is when you're controlled by the reality of principle, or reality principle rather. And next, we have the cradles of early science to be discussed by next reporter, Ms. Olen Barha. Thank you.
Cradles of early science. First one is the Mesoamerica. In Mesoamerica, it has contributed a lot of ideas or discoveries for archaeology. The temples and pyramids left a lot of architecture that leads us to study more of it. The Mayan civilization is one of the famous civilizations that lasted for approximately 2,000 years. These people are known for their works in astronomy, the Mayans. Mayans' notable achievements was astronomy because they developed understanding of the stars, planets, and solar system. For example, they knew how to predict solar eclipses. And Mayan civilization, they developed the technology for growing different crops and building elaborate cities using ordinary machineries and tools. So here in Maya civilization, they're cultivating corn, beans, and squash. And they uses ordinary tools like stones and woods for building cities or for building houses. They also built hydraulic system with sophisticated water to supply water to different communities. So they built dam in the top of the hill, and they are distributing water through canal to supply water to different communities. Mayans also built looms. Ang looms din is gawa siya sa kahoy, and siya ay parang gawaan siya ng clothes, nahian, weaving clothes, and device rainbow for glitter paints from mineral called mica. They are also believed to be the first people to produce rubber products 3,000 years before Goodyear received its patent in 1844. Mayans used natural rubber from the sap of the rubber tree to create various items such as balls, toys, and even sandals. Mayans are considered one of the most scientifically advanced societies in Mesoamerica. They created calendar system that accurately predicted solar and lunar eclipses as well as the planetary alignments. Their astronomical observation is recorded on detailed stone carvings and in hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics is their writing system, or they are called their language. And then mathematics, Mayans developed algebraic equations and geometric calculations. And in architecture, they built temples, pyramids, and even palaces. The next one, we have here the Inca civilization. Inca civilization is also famous in Mesoamerica. The Incas made advanced scientific ideas considering their limitations as an old civilization. Following were scientific ideas and tools they developed to help them in everyday life. First one is the roads, paved with stones. Ang road nila is gawa they made by flatted stones. Gumagamit sila ng mga flatted stone, iaalay nila yon and para maging road siya, para madaan ng mga vehicles. And also, stone buildings that surmounted earthquakes and other disasters. So, yung mga buildings nila is made by stones so that they are protected from earthquakes and other disasters. And also, they have irrigation systems and techniques for storing water for their crops to grow in all types of land. So, dito naman sa Inca, pwede kang magtanim in kahit na anong uri ng land. Pwedeng sa mga terraces and even in the mountainous terraces. And they also have calendar with 12 months to mark the religious festivals and prepare them for planting season. And also, they are the first to construct the first suspension bridge. This suspension bridge is what we call now the hanging bridge. Yun yung mga daanan para makatawid ng ilog. Incas was the first to construct the first suspension bridge. And this cupo is a system of knotted ropes to keep records that only experts can interpret. The cupo is a cord made from cottons or wool. It is used to record numerical information such as population counts, taxes, and production data. This cupo consisted of series of cords. Each cord had nuts and beads that represented numbers, quantities, and specific information. So, noong Inca civilization, only experts can interpret this system. And in Inca's textiles, since clothes was one of the specially prized artistic achievements, their textiles was made by plant fibers like cottons, and it also made from animal fur. Here is the Aztec civilization. Made substantial contributions to science and technology and to the society. Some of their contributions are the following. The first one is the mandatory education. The Aztec puts the value in education. That is why their children are mandated to get education regardless of their social class, gender, or age. It is an early form of universal or inclusive education. So in Aztec, education is mandatory. Kahit na mayaman ka man, mahirap ka, babae ka, lalaki ka, matanda ka, or bata ka, you are mandated to be educated, to attend school. And also, in Aztec, they have chocolates. The Aztec in Mexico developed chocolate during their time. In Mayan culture, they use it as a currency. The Aztecs valued the cacao beans highly and made it as a part of their tribute to their gods. So, ang chocolates ng Aztec is made by cacao beans. Kahit ngayon, ginagawa pa rin natin yun. And also, they had their medication. Antispasmodic medication. They use a type of antispasmodic medication that could prevent muscle spasms and relax muscles. Yung muscle spasms na yan is yung pagninikas ng ating mga kasukasuan. Ito yung mga lamig sa ating muscles. And this medication helps. It also helps our muscles to relax, which could help during surgery. And chinampa. It is a form of Aztec technology for agricultural farming in which the land was divided into rectangular areas and surrounded by canals. yung mga pananim nila is gumagawa muna sila ng mga rectangle, and doon sa loob nun, doon sila tumatanim ng iba't ibang crops, and sa paligid nun, napapalibutan nyo ng canals ng waters. And also in Aztec, they have a calendar. This enabled them to plan their activities, rituals, and planting season. And here in Aztec, they have their boat, invention of the canoe, a light narrow boat used for traveling in water system. Yung narrow boat na yung canoe boat na yan is from hollowed out logs o yung mga troso burned by fire. So, biniburn. So, sinusunog muna nila, and kapag nasunog na, hindi naman nila pinapasunog na maputi. Tapos, pag nasunog na, kinokorte nila na parang na maging boat. And, we have Asian, the revolution itself taught Asian countries about freedom and independent nationhood along the improvement brought by it internally. India is a huge peninsula surrounded by vast bodies of water and fortified by huge mountains in northern borders. So, the Indians are known for manufacturing iron and in metallurgic works. Their iron steel is considered to be the best and held with high regard in the Roman Empire. So, in India, copper and bronze used for making weapons and tools. They are known for their metallurgic works. So, in India, they are also famous in medicine. Ayurveda is a system of traditional medicine that originated in ancient India before 2500 BC and is still practiced as a form of alternative medicine. They discovered some medicinal properties of plants that led them to develop medicines to cure various illnesses. Some ancient texts like Susruta Samhita describes different surgical and other medical procedures famous in ancient India. Ancient Indian is also notable in the field of astronomy. Astronomy was linked with astrology in ancient India in forecasting or predicting horoscope, reading omens, developing many interesting theories. They developed theories on the configuration of the universe, the spherical self-supporting Earth, and the year of 360 days with 12 equal parts of 30 days each. They are also known in mathematics, for their mathematics, ancestors of decimal number systems and arithmetic. Aryabhata, an Indian astronomer and mathematician in his Aryabhatiya, introduced a number of trigonometric functions, tables, and techniques as well as algorithm of algebra. The next one is the China. China, one of the ancient civilizations with substantial contributions in many areas of life like medicine, astronomy, science, mathematics, arts, philosophy, and music. The Chinese are known for their traditional medicines. They discovered various medical properties and uses different plants and animals to cure human illnesses. Some of them examples of animals is the tiger, black bear, and seahorse, and many other more. And for the plants, they are using red ginseng root. So the medication they use for example, is the acupuncture. Acupuncture is yung may mga tudok-tudok na mga needle. That is for relieving the pain. And also, we have here the example of moxibustion. Moxibustion, burning herbal leaves on or near on the body. Yung sinusunog nila yung mga herbal leaves sa katawan or malapit sa katawan. And also, we have here the cupping, yung mga baso pagana nilalagay sa likod. And we have here the Middle East. Middle East, the revolutions in the Middle East were a product of development and growth of individual nationalism, imperialism, for the efforts of westernized and modernized Middle Eastern societies, and to push the declining power of the Ottoman Empire in the Arab region. A Muslim scientist named Ibn al-Haytham is regarded as the father of optics, mata, especially for his empirical proof of the intermission theory of light. So he is considered as the father of optics. He goes on to explain his theory of light, theory that light travels in straight line. So, pinatunayan niya ito by conducting experiment using the two lanterns. And for the intermission theory of light, from his books Kitab al-Manazar, the eyes receive a light reflected from objects rather than from the light itself from the eyes. And in mathematics, the mathematician Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi gave his name to the concept of the algorithm, while the term algebra derived from algebra, that from the name of his books, Kitab al-Jabr, the beginning of the title of one of his publication books. Muhammad developed a concept of algebra by generating new method of solving linear and quadratic equation. His revolutionary technique began by putting the equations in one of 6 standard forms, where B and C were both positive integers. And lastly, we have the Africa. The fight against colonialism and imperialism in Africa. Egypt was known to be a center of alchemy, which is known for the medieval forerunner of chemistry. So, chemistry was born in ancient Egypt, where the word chem was used in reference for the fertility of the floodplains around the Nile. Egyptian beliefs in life after death. The mummification procedures they developed probably gave rise to the chemical knowledge and on a goal of immortality. Astronomy was also famous in African region. For instance, documents shows that Africans used 3 types of calendar: the lunar, solar, and stellar, or a combination of the 3. So the lunar calendar is based on a moon cycle. It consisted 354 to 355 days in a whole year. And in solar calendar, it is based on Earth's orbit around the Sun. Months are approximately equal in length, 30 to 31 days. It consists of 365 to 366 days year in full year. And the stellar calendar is based on the star movements. It consisted of 365 days for the whole year. And that's all. That is the kernels of early sciences. That's all.